Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Life of a Business Manager podcast. Today, we are taking a step outside of me speaking on the podcast, and we're going to bring in my good friend Kelly, who is an education specialist who works closely with children with special needs. We're going to talk about the patience, creativity, dedication that Kelly has to take on the unique challenges of the role and the lessons that she's learned in this role. She's been in it for 8+ years, and we're just going to take a listen. I thought this would be a good mix up into all of the episodes that I've had, just to take a mini break so we can actually learn exactly her journey as an education specialist. And I think it would be helpful for anyone listening out there who has any questions or concerns. Kelly is here to help. So if you need her contact information, I will also put that in the show notes. Let's get into it. Kelly, welcome to our podcast.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Kelly, aka Miss Kim. Thank you.
So, Kelly, can you introduce yourself and kind of share your background? I don't know if you want to share like how we met, but we pretty much grew up with each other because you're my sister's best friend.
Yes, Syna lived on top of me. I lived on the bottom apartment when I was 5 years old. So that was, oh my gosh, like almost 30 years ago. That's crazy. I'm an education specialist with a background in special education and child development. I've spent several years working in like various educational settings, helping children with diverse needs reach their full potential. And then, sorry, what was your other question?
So, can you just talk about, so you're an educational specialist. Did you think, like, I guess when you were younger, when you were 5 years old, now that you brought up, that we've known each other for that long, did you think that that was what you wanted to do as a career path, or did you kind of just develop into that and decided that was what you wanted to do as a job?
For sure. As when I was young, like in kindergarten, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. So, out of high school, I completed my prerequisites at the JC, and then I transferred to the SSU to get my BA. And then I taught English for a year at Cambodia, which was an incredible experience. I got to relearn my mother's language, which is Cambodian. And then I came back to the States where I got to substitute for a year in different grade levels. And then I enjoyed working with the students who had disabilities because I really wanted to feel like I'm making a difference. So I got my educational specialist credential. And so this is my 8th year teaching.
Wow, 8 years. Okay.
Mhm.
And do you think that this is kind of your calling, your path, or what actually led to the fulfillment? I know you said you really just enjoy and you wanted to do something that was meaningful, unlike my job as a business manager. But I think your job is more rewarding in a different way.
Yes, I absolutely feel a sense of fulfillment in my job, seeing like a child's progress, whether it's mastering a new skill, gaining confidence, or simply finding joy in learning fills me with pride. Knowing that I play like a small part in their growth makes the challenges worthwhile.
Well, this is totally off of the questions, Kelly, and I tend to do this in my podcast. But do you ever feel that in some of your work, there's been days where you just don't know if you could get through it because you are dealing with special needs students?
Yes, for sure. So some of the biggest challenges I face, including like the emotional demands of the job, like when the students aren't able to talk, like verbally talk or even pay attention to what you're trying to tell them. And so you have to find other ways to teach them. So I show them pictures and try to have them point to the pictures because most of the time the children are not able to speak.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know how you do it. How do you find the balance between your current work, motherhood, and just your personal time? Because your job is mainly, I guess, like, what are your hours? Can you give the audience a little bit example of what are your hours? What is your day like as an
Yeah.
educational specialist, and then what's life after you leave your job?
Yes. So I wake up around 6:30, get the boys ready, take my child to preschool, drop, and then my mother takes care of my toddler. And then I go to work at 8 to 3 o'clock, and then I come back um, to motherhood. It's very challenging, but I do prioritize organization and set boundaries to ensure I dedicate quality time to both work and my family. So I get a lot of support from my husband and my mom. And then once a week, I try to take a fitness class such as Pilates or Sweat Circuit to just do some self care.
So for self-care, when are you teaching Pilates, by the way, or yoga?
I'm certified actually as a yoga instructor, but I choose to not teach, instead just take the classes because I enjoy taking it than teaching it.
We would actually go to your classes, so you should start teaching as well,
Oh,
once you have time, obviously. So I wanted to bring you on because, first of all, I don't even know if anyone knows what an education specialist is, right? It does sound a little bit of a vague title
yeah.
just from the outside perspective, and I do appreciate all the work that you do as a teacher. I think before, when I was younger, I also wanted to be a teacher, but then I realized that I probably couldn't pay my bills on time because groceries are already expensive.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
had decided to just, reroute my major and do and go through like a different career path. But I
Mhm.
do applaud all the teachers out.
Yes. So, as an education specialist, my primary role is to assess, design, and implement individualized education programs. They're called IEPs for children with special needs. So, it's like a legal document that everyone has to follow at the school. This includes in collaborating with general education teachers, parents, therapists to create tailored approach that adjusts each child's unique strengths and challenges. My work directly impacts these children by providing them with the tools and support they need to thrive academically, socially, fostering an inclusive environment for them to succeed independently in life.
And is there a success rate for some of these kids? I guess, are you able to kind of reconcile that the kids move on after your teaching, or how does it actually work?
So we like to give assessments and goal when we do the assessments, they tell each of the parents like, okay, this is where your child's at. And then we make the goals for them. And so each year we have a meeting and then we try to tell the parents, this is what we've been working on. And then once they meet that goal, we made another goal for the next year. And so they just keep on increasing until they could independently do one of the, like, for instance, potty training, that could be a goal, or saying the alphabet, that could be a goal, or even pointing to a picture because some students aren't even able to focus on an actual image.
And then I know you've worked at multiple different schools. Are there any differences as far as the rules? Like you mentioned something, was it an IAP? Did I say that right?
Every school has to follow an IEP. It is similar in each district. I think the only difference is that some schools have a budget and they have to follow it. So some schools might not be able to have the resources for a student, even though they should. Like, for instance, the previous district I worked at, a student needed a one on one, but they weren't able to afford a one on one like assistant. So they had to move that student to a different district that could afford it.
Because I work in budgets, do you see it as, now that you've been in this industry for like 8 years or so, that the budget is getting cut every single year, or is it about the same, or are you finding it harder for each school district to support the students that need exactly those services, right, in order to move on?
The budget has been very hard each year. I see the layoffs with teachers, mostly with general education teachers. For special education teachers, they need more of them because of the retention rate. The special education teachers are quitting because they can't handle the students with disabilities. And so there is always job positions in that field.
So then what are some of the biggest challenges that you face? So you did mention budgeting
Mm.
as becoming harder and harder, and it sounds like there's maybe high turnover rates as among the teachers.
Yeah, so ensuring that each child receives the appropriate resources has been a little challenging because each child needs something different. For instance, I could have a child who is not able to sit in a chair, so they're needing a chair that might cost, hundreds of dollars, or an equipment that costs hundreds of dollars. So some of the kids who don't speak, they have to have like these iPads and they have like a certain app that they use to communicate with us. And so that could cost a couple $100s, and that's only supposed to be used at the school. So then at that point, when they go home, it's hard for the parents to communicate because they can't afford that equipment themselves. So that's a big challenge.
Are there any like donations or like sponsorships,
Yeah.
or so any, like, if the audience is listening and they did
Mhm.
wanted to help, do they have any of that? Because I know at my work we do have donations and like gift funds. I don't know if that's market, to
Mhm.
the public.
So, as a teacher, go on Donors Choose and I create a list of things I need. And then sometimes the parents contribute, but most of the time I get sponsors and they would donate and I could get the equipment from there. And so that's been helpful. I did about like 4 projects and they've all been funded through that. And
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's that, and then there's just other resources that they could contact if they're not able to afford it themselves.
Well, it's good to know that
Mhm.
people can actually sponsor or donate
Yeah.
because I think anyone listening out there, if anyone wants to help, that's good to know because you're helping students that actually need it. Was there a specific moment or experience in your role that made you start questioning if this was the right path for you? I think this is similar to the biggest challenges and also similar to like, if you've had a rough day where you just couldn't figure out how to
Mhm.
get out of.
Yeah, there have definitely been moments of doubt, particularly with the children experiencing setbacks with their progress. I sometimes feel overwhelmed that I'm not able to support them when they are trying to communicate something, but I'm not able to understand them. And so at that point, it's just, I feel so bad when they're crying, and I'm like, I don't know what you want. And so those moments, I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And so there's been times where I ask like speech pathologists or the occupational therapist, and they give me so many tips, and it's always been helpful. And then I carry that on with my years of teaching, and so I just use those tips, and it's been helpful.
Also, I was just wondering because I'm not a parent, but do you ever get pushback, I guess, from certain parents when you are trying to help their kids?
Yes, for sure. Some parents don't even like to hear that their child has a disability. It's sometimes hard for them to like swallow um, that their children has a disability, and especially like if it's like autism. So some of the parents will take in the strategies and tips that you give them, but some will turn a blind eye and just like pick up their child from school and not want to hear what you want to say. And when they drop off, they just drop them off and not even say hi and like see how their child is doing. But that's only like maybe only one parent out of the whole classroom sometimes. And then all the other parents are very willing to learn and come to extra meetings to see how they could support their child and taking the resources. And that's what I love. I just love it when parents are involved.
Yes, I completely agree. I mean, I can see as a parent where it would be hard,
Hmm.
obviously, to
Yes.
accept any type of disability that
Hmm.
that your that your
Hmm.
your your kids have or have developed. Hey there, fellow business managers. Are you looking to save time and boost productivity in your role? Let me introduce you to my stand store, where I've put together a collection of ready to use business templates designed specifically for people like us. These templates are practical, professional, and crafted with the day to day challenges of business management in mind. Check out my stand store now at standstore/life of a business manager. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. There's your kids right there. We're going to leave that on the podcast, Kelly.
Sorry, Josh is supposed to be taking care of them right now. He knows that I'm doing this. There's no lock on my door.
You need to get a lock, Kelly. Just another thought. I guess for most of your work, I'm assuming it's in person, or are you finding, I guess, where's your current status right now, right? Because I think the last time I saw you, you said you were looking for some sort of remote work if possible, but I don't know where that stands, or are you having to go in person?
I am in person right now. I just started actually last Friday.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's with third and fifth graders. So they're an older crowd than I'm used to. I'm used to teaching the preschoolers.
Oh, okay. That
Hmm.
should be interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. At least I don't have to do the diapers anymore.
We all love diaper change, right?
Yes. So, yeah, I used to do remote too. I like either one, remote or in person is fine.
Yeah, I was thinking, would it be hard doing it remote now that you have described exactly like what you do for work and like the day to day tasks?
Mm.
Or I guess if you could do it remote, I'm just trying to think how that would work.
Yes, for the older grades like middle school and high school, it would be fine remote, but when it
Mm.
comes to the elementary or preschool, definitely in person is more impactful.
Yes, I agree. So let's go to segment 3, Kelly. So, what have you learned about yourself that you didn't know before? So, this could be work, this could be, personal, this could be motherhood, whatever it is that you want to share about yourself.
Yeah, so through my experience, I've learned that I possess a resilience and adaptability I didn't know I had. People at work always say that I'm very patient with the kids, and I knew I was patient. I just didn't know how patient I was with students with disabilities. All the employees are always like shocked when some of the kids are like throwing a tantrum and they're always looking at me like, aren't you stressed out?" I'm like, "No, I like, this is what I'm here for, this is an expectation. I know that the students are going to have difficulties, and so I'm just here trying to help them." And so I try to always have a positive vibe so that none of the students feel like I'm getting the teacher mad or something negative. I always want to show like positivity.
Yes, totally agree. You probably have not even just resilient, but like grit to deal with all of that.
Mhm. Yes, for sure.
I don't know if I could do your job, but let's go to the next question. What advice do you have for parents who have children with special needs? And this could be positive advice or any type of thoughts that you have recommended for anyone listening out there, just because I think it just for us to share awareness and also for everyone to kind of, we all have some sort of disability and to accept others for who they are.
Yes. So, to the parents with children who do have special needs, I advise you to be your child's strongest advocate. Seek support, gather resources, and never hesitate to ask questions. And then, for those considering a career in special education, I recommend gaining experience through volunteering, internships, or substituting. This field, it requires passion and dedication and like a lot of patience. It can be incredibly rewarding.
And then if the audience listening, if they actually wanted to go in the same career path as you, Kelly, do you recommend it? Do you need any certifications? Or I know you have a master's as well. Are
Mhm.
there any education levels that are required before you get into the type of job that you're in?
Yes. So I would recommend taking some child development classes at the JC, or if you can, start at SSU or a college that you can get into like a bachelor's program for teaching. And then after you graduate with that, you could go into a credential program. And then specifically, if you want to work with students with disabilities, you work towards that educational specialist credential. But if you don't want to teach students with disabilities, then you'll go for a general education credential.
So for your master's, what do you have it in? What's your major for your master's?
My major for my master's is curriculum and leadership. Yes.
But did you have to get the educational specialist certificate, or did I hear that incorrect?
That's so the credential is different from the master's degree. So for the master's degree, I just did that separately. I didn't need to have a master's degree. I just wanted to learn some more information about education and like help me along the way. I'm a lifelong learner and I'm still signing up for classes at the JC.
What are you trying to learn, Kelly?
I signed up for sociology class and like children in the justice system because that might be another direction that I might be interested in.
That was what one of my friends did in the
Yes,
city. Yeah.
yes. That would be really interesting field to go to if I don't want to work in the field that I'm at right now.
That was going to be my next question, I guess. What keeps you going, but also where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years? Totally interview question here, but are you still looking to stay in the same career path or are you looking to advance or reroute somewhere else?
I'm not looking anywhere else. So I'm looking to stay for now. What keeps me going is the progress I see in my students and the relationships I build with my families. Each success, no matter how small, reminds me of why I chose this path. If I could give myself some advice, it would be to trust the process and embrace the journey, including its ups and downs.
Those are great advice and great answers, Kelly.
So in 5 years, I see myself continuing to grow in my role, possibly taking one more leadership responsibilities or expanding my impact through advocacy work. And then if I had to describe my life journey in one word, it would be growth.
Would you ever want to own your own school where you can have, the special needs students there and like kind of set things up the way you would like to set them up, obviously legally and following the rules here in California?
Yes, for sure. I actually just printed the application to start up my own little preschool. So one day I would like to have my own preschool business and have students with special needs and grow a little company for the students who are needing something more intimate. than in a public education school system.
That's great, Kelly. Where's one place you want to travel to right now? Now that we're coming towards the end of the episode,
I love to travel to Costa Rica. It's a place that resonates with my desire for adventure and relaxation. I think it would be good for the family. And yes, I want to use my Espanol over there.
you're so funny. And then what advice do you have for the listeners out there? I know this podcast is about life of a business manager, but you might need a business manager if you are looking to open your own school or maybe an LLC or some sort of company that you're looking to do. I hope you do it. I think that would be great because it seems like you're the expert in this and you have so much experience and you could definitely network and, get that thing going. Especially if you have it at like a small intimate where you can actually make I'm just thinking out loud, but you can make like further progress, right? Because each student will then have a full focus. If you wanted to give the audience an example, how many students do you have typically? Say just for you, for one person.
So if I'm teaching at a special day class, it's up to 12 students. But since I'm a resource specialist, uh, I have 20 on my caseload.
You have 20 students?
Yes.
Oh my
Because this
goodness.
is I'm pulling out the kids from their classes and I'm helping them individually.
So I guess what's the length of time you have with them? There's only so many hours in a day. Okay, so you have 20 students. Let's just give the audience an example here. So you have 20 students. What's the length of time that you have with each student on that day, especially if some students take a little bit more time than another student? How do you prioritize that?
So each student has different specialized academic minutes that I have to track. So one student could have 250 minutes per week, whereas another student could have 60 minutes. So I have to get a calendar out and make sure all their students get all of their minutes in the whole week. So I have to group some of the students because I can't see them individually. So I have to group either two at a time, three at a time, so that everyone gets their specialized academic instruction. It's a lot.
I don't even know how you're doing that. So 20 students, that's a lot. And you're working how many hours a day? 8?
Yes, and so on top of that, I have to ask the speech pathologist and the occupational therapist what days and times they're going to be pulling out that student so I don't interfere with that time. And so we just always have to coordinate with other stakeholders.
It's a lot of shuffling the
Mhm.
calendar,
For
and
sure.
then trying to figure out that you cover all the students.
Mhm.
Have you ever come to a week where you didn't cover all the students and you had to make it up, or they don't let you make it up? You just have to meet the weekly hours.
You could always make it up the next week or just anytime you could find it because there are times when the child's sick and next week see them with another group.
So it's not so rigid then.
Yes, not so rigid.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Now I know what you do.
Yes.
So your day is pretty much scheduled from the day you walk in until the day you leave, or the hours that you leave.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Is there a lot of writing components in your job as far as like you
Mhm.
had mentioned you had to write the IEP and
Yes.
make sure it reconciles with exactly what the rules are legally on how each student is progressing or what you did that day? I'm assuming so because if the parents ask for it.
So for each student, I have 20 IEPs to write, and then in those IEPs, you have to write their present levels, their goals, their challenges, their assessments, and all of that. So it's about like 30 pages for each student.
And is there a deadline to meet to finish that off?
Yeah, so each student they have an annual, so we do a meeting once a year, and then we have progress reports that we send to the parents every 3 months.
And how long do the students stay at the school? What are the levels pretty much, right? As the parents register the students into the school, they start. Where is there a time where the progress has either shifted into a higher level and then you move on to the next level? Well, what's the length of time like a typical student will stay at the school?
It's the same as a general education student where they go to kindergarten to first grade, second grade, third grade, but instead of a regular classroom, it may be a special day classroom where it's only um, with their peers who also have the same type of disabilities.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I could see where that would help them progress actually a little bit faster because everyone's the same.
For sure. And then if they do progress at a higher rate, then they could transfer into a general education instead of a special day class.
Okay, now I understand it. So it's kind of the pre to prep before it goes into like general education if there's success within the student itself. Okay, got it. Is there anything that I'm missing that you want to bring up to the audience? I think I've asked a lot of questions, Kelly.
Yeah. Mhm. I think another piece of advice I would give to anyone, whether they're a mother or not, is to continue to get an education no matter how old you are or how young you are. If you think it's too late, just take one class at a time if you can through the JC or whatever program you want to. Even if you have a child, to, you know, my master's while having a baby, and you could do it. It's good for you, good for the brain. Just like I said, for my one word, it's growth. That's something that every person should seek to do in life.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I feel the same way. I feel like we're on the same line here, Kelly. Although I didn't get my master's until a lot later, and anyone listening out there, go get your master's before while your brain is still functioning, in my opinion, right after your bachelor's, because I waited too long and it was hard, especially if
Hmm.
you work full time.
Yeah.
It was really, really difficult to get your master's and work full time and still function. Even without a child, it was hard, I think. What are some of your hobbies?
I like to go on a walk with my kids, so I enjoy walking like at the lake. And what else? Play some badminton. I know you've been learning to play pickleball. That's something I would love to learn. I know I saw a documentary, so I love watching documentaries too. It's good for the brain to learn a new skill. It'll help it increase because each decade your brain decreases by 5%. And so for you to like extend that um, the growth of your brain, you should learn a new skill, like learn a new instrument, or like you're trying to learn pickleball. I would love to do that too.
I only tried to learn pickleball, I think, once. And then my weekends got so busy, I haven't gone back to
Yeah.
play with my friend Janice pickleball, but we are seeing her, I think, the first week of September. But pickleball was hard because I'm not a tennis player.
Mhm.
I guess if you play tennis, it's easier to transition to pickleball. I thought it would be similar to badminton because I know how to play badminton, but
Yes.
it's not, Kelly. It's actually really challenging and it's a really hard sport. And in the Bay Area, everyone's playing pickleball and
Yeah.
everyone's getting the courts and
Mhm.
they're booking it and it's very aggressive. It's actually supposed to be a not so aggressive sport, but pickleball is actually pretty, so I need to get back on that and actually start playing it. Although I am always learning, I'm learning a couple things right now. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's great to test your brain out. But I think I also get bored. So I need to keep doing something
Mhm.
in order for me to just feel like I'm accomplishing something. I don't know how to explain it, but
Yes.
maybe for you too.
No, for sure. Like I'm always continuing to like try to learn Spanish every day, like even just speaking it with the students whenever I get the chance.
I thought you know pretty good Spanish.
I do have a AA degree in Spanish, but some of the words when they say it too fast, I have to hear it slowly.
Perfect. Well, I just wanted to thank you for being on the podcast, Kelly. I really appreciate it. I hope this episode actually helps everyone out on learning what exactly you do as an education specialist. I think it's a very interesting title, and I had no idea, but we all appreciate you and everything you do for the students, and keep it up, keep going. Thank you so much for being on this episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for tuning into Life of a Business Manager. A big thank you to our guest, Kelly, for sharing her inspiring story of working with special education students. It's a great reminder that teachers are so important for all of the students out there. And I really appreciate the patience that she has, the grit that she has to be able to work in this profession. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share the podcast with any colleague or friend that you have. Until next time, bye everyone. Hi, everyone. Just a reminder, the content provided in our podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with appropriate professionals before making any business decisions based on the information provided in the podcast. We do not endorse any products or services mentioned unless stated in any of our episodes. Thank you for listening.